Good morning, everybody. I'm Linda Lovey with Lovey Wealth Management, and so what I wanted to do was just talk about some of the different areas of your finances. So would you admit that you don't know what you don't know?
Yes.
With that being said, when it comes to all your finances and the whole picture, do you think that a person that has worked 40 plus hours a week for 20 years might have some fun things to share with you? You might be able to help you avoid some pitfalls. I also try to help people flip the switch in their mind into taking accountability and moving forward on their finances and doing what they can do to make their situation better. So one of the first things is, do you know that you should analyze your risk tolerance for all the different pools of money that you have for the different goals that you have? So for example, your cash reserves, you should have 6 months of your expenses set aside, and that should be in a very conservative risk tolerance because you're going to need that sooner. Where your retirement money is going to be money that's going to be lasting throughout your whole lifetime. You want to have that and a more aggressive portfolio, but that would depend on your own experience and your own risk tolerance as far as your comfort level. So that's something that a financial advisor can help you with. You should also rebalance that once a year. Most people don't realize if they've had an old 401k, you just put it in place, let it sit there, don't change it. It's actually becoming more and more aggressive. So you should rebalance it. Depending on what kind of holdings you have and how that account is titled, you could have expenses associated with that. Just a little disclaimer there. All right, the other thing is long-range strategies. Do you have money set aside, like for example, in a Roth IRA or life insurance, so you have a tax-free source of income? Do you also use something like a 401k, so you've got the matching participation from your employer? And then do you have something for your cash reserves and your shorter-term money? Do you have strategies that offer you growth through the market? And if you are 40 and above, do you also have some strategies that have guarantees on them? Because you don't want to be in a situation like some people that I knew. They had all their money in the market, very aggressive portflios, set their date for retirement, less than a year away, market tanked, and guess what? Now they had to go back to work. Can you imagine what a feeling that would be if you knew you're going to retire in June of that year, and then all of a sudden you realize, guess what? You got to keep working because you didn't have your portfolio set up right. Again, that's one of the things I help people with. Another thing is you have a plan. There are some wonderful software out there to do actually a financial plan, and it looks at all the pieces and parts, how everything fits together. So when you tweak one area here, it tweaks another. So do you know how much money you need to be saving to be able to retire? Do you know when you want to retire? Do you know what kind of rate of return that you need to be getting? So that's another area to look at. Another thing is timely information. Sometimes I'll have clients come to me and they'll have ideas that they want to take money out of their IRAs or their 401ks to try some new business venture out. And they're not aware of the consequences. So I can make them aware of that so they can make an educated decision as to, do I really want to do this? Or do I want to save up for the investment rather than taking it out? Typically, if you take money out of your IRAs or your 401ks before you're 59 and a half, you have a 10% penalty plus your income tax bracket. So that means if you're in the 15% tax bracket, right off the bat, you're given 25 cents on every dollar to Uncle Sam. Who wants to do that? You work so hard to put it away. I had a person one time who wanted to take money out of their IRA to buy a collector card for their husband for Valentine's Day. And I'm thinking, I don't think that card is going to feed you later in retirement. So just kind of be aware of those choices. One of the things I do too when you're working with a financial advisor, one of my great clients suggested, is talking about when you do a year review. So for example, I had a client that every year I will go through and I track all the different things like how are you doing on your debt, how are you doing on your savings, how are you doing on your paying down your mortgage, all the details is going on. And they said they thought they were doing really good on paying down their credit card debt. But when I look back through the year before, they were actually accumulating more debt. So it's real easy in your mind to think that you're on track, but if you've got somebody to help you, look at an annual basis, point to point, then you can actually find out, are you really doing what you thought you were doing? Let's see, and then understanding. If you have a financial advisor, you've got somebody that's a kind ear to listen to what you're going through and to help give you some direction. I can give you that support, keep you on track. Another one, let's see, protection planning. So have you thought about what you need to have in place? Like if you get injured and you can't work, do you have disability insurance so that your income keeps coming in? Just because you can't work, you don't want to lose your house. Do you have life insurance in place? Again, it's a great tool for putting money aside for investing for the future, for long range type of planning. And there's also life insurance for shorter. So if you've got somebody depending on you, whether it's a spouse or a child, you can make sure that they're going to be left in a better situation should something happen and you're not able to spend long as a life with them as you like to. Then all the changes in life. You got married, getting divorced, buying a house, gonna have a kid. All these little different things affects your financial situation. So you need to look at what do you need to change as those changes come in place. Do you have a will in place? And then a second pair of eyes. So I tell people, even if you have a financial advisor, it's good to have somebody else look at it because you don't know what that other person might be missing. I've seen some pretty unusual circumstances with people that have been working with advisors and how they were just looking at one little tiny piece instead of the whole picture. So if you want somebody who's going to look at everything in line and make sure that all the ducks are in a row, that's one of the things I can help people with. So again, I'm Linda Lovey at the Lovey Wealth Management. And so is there any questions or?
I have a,
Yes?
what's the minimal amount that you should be putting away on a monthly basis in order to get, I guess, a decent future for your retirement?
That is so specific for each person. So each person has to look at what their expenses are, what they would like to have in retirement, because one person might be a real simple lifestyle where another person might be real lavish. So you want to figure out what kind of money you want to have set aside, and then figure out how much the rate of return that you get there, and then plan aside. A good little rule of thumb is though, if you wanted to live off of $40,000 a year, the rule is you take out 4% of your portfolio, so you lessen your chance of outliving it. That means you would need to have $1 million saved when you retire. So, yes.
Real quick, what do you think of REITs, real estate investment trusts?
They are a great way of getting a little diversification in your portfolio. However, they are very illiquid. So the rule generally is don't put more than 10% of your portfolio in one, because they are actually a real estate investment. So,
Right, that's true.
but it is a great way to get a little
You're
diversification.
right, that was my experience. It took 6 months to sell something.
Yep. So, yeah.
Is the first thing that you should do is have that 6 months worth of savings?
Yes.
Because how many people actually have that? in
Very
this
few.
country?
Very few. There's so many fun things to buy. Why would you want to put money aside in a savings account? That's boring, you know? But really, you should have your 6 months worth of your expenses set aside. Then you should have disability insurance, because you figure everything you buy is based on your income. And if you don't have a way of supporting that income, you want to be able to have a way to keep that payments going on. So that's the next thing. And there's a couple of people in this that can help, Matt and Sylvia, and I can help with that. And then the next thing is start saving for your retirement. So,
What's your perspective on paying off your mortgage? I guess that's kind of specific too, right?
depends on what your interest rate is and when you want to retire and what kind of rate of return you might be able to get on investments. If you can get a better rate of return on investments,
Don't pay
then
off.
typically, yeah, it makes more sense to get the rate of return. So, all right.
All right, Linda, one more time, tell us how we can get a hold of you.
All right, so I'm Linda Lovey, Lovey Wealth Management. My telephone number is 775-544-4714. My website is www.llovie.com. Give me a call or connect with me on my website for a complimentary consultation.